Hi, I'm Leah, and today we're installing a toilet. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my goodness, Leah, I'm not certain I want to do that job. But let me tell you this. Replacing a toilet, it's easier than installing a bathroom faucet. There are only 2 bolts and a water supply line connected to a toilet. So it's easy, but it's still a toilet, okay? Now here's the thing about installing a toilet for yourself. You're gonna save big bucks. I'm not talking little money, I'm talking big bucks. Now the average toilet can run anywhere between $100 to about $300. But installing that toilet, a plumber's gonna charge you between $300 and $500. And when you consider that there are only 2 bolts and 1 water supply line holding the toilet to the floor, you're just going to be coming up a big winner. Now let me show you the tools that you're going to need to remove the toilet. You may not need all these tools, but you know what? It's just smart to be prepared just in case. You're going to need an adjustable wrench, a hand multi-tool, a pair of channel locks, a utility knife, a clamp, and a scraper or 2. I like to also have paper towels handy because this is a messy job, or it can be a messy job, and you just want to have paper towels. You'll see that I have a bucket, there's a sponge in there, couple plastic bags, plastic tarp is in here, and a pair of gloves right next to it, just a couple old rags. Trust me, you want to have a couple of old rags, and you don't want to forget your plastic bags. Couple important side notes. I've cleaned the fixture and the floor with an antibacterial cleaner. I'll put on my gloves once I remove or start to remove the toilet. The other thing I want to mention is wear comfortable clothing, and wear clothing that you're going to get dirty. Okay, this is your water supply line here, and this controls the flow of water to the water tank. Now, we want to shut this off. This water supply line, we want to shut it off before we disconnect it. And we turn this handle. That's how we shut off the water. So I'm going to do that right now. So now this is shut off. The next thing we want to do is we want to flush the toilet. And that's going to get rid of all the water in the tank. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take the lid off of the tank, and we're going to sop up any remaining water. So the next step is we just want to make certain that there's no water in the bowl. There's a little bit of water in the bowl, so I'm going to have to get that as well, because once we pull the toilet up, you want as little water left as possible, because the chances are you're going to have to carry it through the house. Okay, so you want to make certain that you get all the water out of the bowl, or most of it. Okay. Now that's how it should look. Now we're going to disconnect the water supply line, and I also want to mention that your water supply line may look different, but it's still attached in the same way to the bottom of the tank. Now sometimes this fitting is something that you can just twist on by hand. Sometimes it's a metal nut that you may want to use an adjustable wrench. In this case it's plastic and round, so I'm going to use a pair of channel locks to remove it. Just take your time. Now once you get it close to coming off, you're going to want to slide the bucket over, because there may be some residual water in the water supply line. See, I'm close now, so I'm going to move the bucket in close. Now, sometimes those shut-off valves, they get old and they don't shut the water off completely. And if they don't in your case, and you just have a steady drip of water, and in that case, you're going to want to take the water supply line, stick it in a bucket, and put a clamp on it. And for demonstration purposes, that's what it would look like. Now this is where the real fun begins, folks, because we're going to remove the toilet now. And remember I was telling you about those 2 bolts? Well, this is one, and the other is on the opposite side of the commode. So we're going to remove this one. This is just a plastic cap. Sometimes they unscrew, sometimes you have to pry them up. So I've removed the cap here, and what I found is that it's badly rusted. You may have this problem, but chances are you won't, but you could, so we're starting with something a little more difficult. Now we're going to have to get the flange bolt off. The good thing is we have new flange bolts to put in its place. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm just going to see what we have left here. It looks like it's a washer that has rusted very badly. I can't get the nut off of there. What I'll do is I'll just cut the bolt with a hacksaw. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be able to remove it with the channel lock. You know, it looked a lot worse than what it actually was. So my guess is that the washer itself started to rust. And so we've got the nut off the flange bolt. Now, if you have the same situation and you can't get the nut off the bolt, then I suggest you go to the tool section of the C. Jane Drill website and go to the tool library. They'll have a picture of a hacksaw and how to use it. And you would just want to cut the bolt right here. Now I'm going to go to the other side and remove the nut from the other flange bolt. Okay, so I'm on the other side, and I just wanted to show you what a flange bolt and nut looks like in non-rusted condition. And hopefully that's what you have at home. Okay, that's something that's in good shape. Take a look at this. All in great shape, folks. We're going to get ready to take this off. But you know what? I'm really glad you had a chance to see both flange bolt conditions. One in really great condition, and then one that was a little tricky. So now we're just going to lift the toilet off of the floor. You want to have plastic handy or a drop cloth that you're going to want to get rid of. The plastic bag is going to fit over the bottom of the toilet. So I'm going to place that on the floor right now next to the toilet. Okay, now toilets are very heavy, folks. This might weigh, you know, 50, 60, 100 pounds. And so if you have help, I suggest that you ask for help. This is not necessarily something you want to do alone, but you can, and I'm going to. So keep in mind that there's still a little bit of water inside the trap of the toilet. And so what you want to do is you want to be very careful not to spill that water out on the floor because it's a biohazard. Okay, folks, I'm ready to lift the toilet up and set it on the plastic bag. And like I said, folks, if you got help, go get it, because this is heavy. Okay, so the toilet is out of the way. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stick a rag down. It's not going to go anywhere. We're going to stick a rag down to prevent sewer gases from coming up into the house. Don't skip that step. That's something that you want to definitely be mindful of. And now we're going to clean away this area here. That's called a wax ring. You want to have your plastic bag handy and a paper towels, because this, folks, this is messy, and this is where you gotta be wearing gloves, positively. And now we're gonna just scoop up what's called the wax ring. So what is a wax ring? Well, the wax ring, it seals the toilet fixture to the floor. It creates a moisture-proof bond. That's why when you flush your toilet and the water drains out, it's not running all over the floor because you've got this wax ring that is creating a bond between the floor and the toilet. So we want to remove the old wax ring. Okay, so this is the plastic part of the wax ring. When we put in the new toilet, I'll install a new wax ring and you get a good idea what it looks like. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up. This is those antibacterial wipes. It's perfect for a job like this. You just want to clean up around that flange. You get any kind of residual dirt. This is a part of the job, folks. Nobody likes doing this. But I got to tell you, from this point on, it's clear sailing. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do before we install the new commode, okay? So I just want you to know what things look like so you know what you're dealing with. Come on in, let me show you. Okay, so this is the closet flange. It's metal, okay? And it's attached to the floor. And you're attaching your toilet to this flange. Now, a lot of times, my flange happens to be in very good condition. It's rock solid. It's not going anywhere, and that's what you want. But you know, sometimes toilets leak, and the flange rusts out, and you'll have to replace it. And I want to tell you this in the event that this, you know, you run into this while you're putting in a new toilet. You might say, oh, wait a second, that's not what Leah showed me. I want you to be prepared for the worst in the event that's what you're faced with. There's a couple routes you can go if you've got a bad flange. You may just want to remove the old flange. It's bolted to the floor, it's screwed into the floor. Just remove it and put a new flange down. Or you can get an adaptable flange, and that just sits on top, and then you secure that. Okay, now, the next thing you have to be mindful of, and chances are this is not going to occur for you. Most toilets, the opening sits 12 inches from the wall. And if you need one that is not, then you're going to have to special order something that's 14, 16 inches away, 7 inches away. Okay, this is a flange bolt. Remember I talked about the two bolts that hold your toilet to the floor? Well, this is a flange bolt. Let me see if you can tell up close. If I show you the head of it, you can see it's kind of rectangular shaped. And that's by design. So I'm going to insert this in the flange. I'm going to show you how it's done. So you insert it in, like so. Okay, so it's in there. But now you got to twist it to the side. Slide it on down into place. That's it. So what I want to do now is I want to mark where that flange bolt needs to be. We want it 12 inches because 12 inches is going to be on center. So I'm marking the floor at 12 inches. It's been my experience that the flange bolts wobble back and forth. So what I do is I steady it with a washer and then I put on a nut. Now, this doesn't usually come in the package. This is just something else that you can do yourself to steady that bolt. It's going to make a big difference. But you don't have to. You don't have to do it like this. Okay, now, I've got some blue masking tape. And what I'm going to do is, this is going to work as a guide for me. What you want to do is you want to line that masking tape up with the mark on the floor. And you may even want to extend your mark like so. Okay, now why am I doing that? Well, when you go to lower the toilet onto these two bolts, you're going to be above it. And believe me, you're going to be glad the tape is here because it's going to help you see where the bolt is. Because it's going to be blind. You're going to be blind to this bolt because of how you're positioned. And if you run tape along the side, you'll know you're in the ballpark. So we're moving right along. Now it's time to install the wax ring. Okay, so there's two ways to install a wax ring. You can stick it to the bottom of the toilet like that. Or you can just stick it over the flange. Okay, so this is what I want to say. This is when you need someone else to help, because steadying the bowl over those bolts, it's difficult because the bowl weighs so much. So get help if you can to do this part. Okay, now I'm going to put the toilet in place, and we've got to make certain that these the openings on the toilet line up with the flange bolts on the flange. Okay. Now can you see why it was important to have the tape down with the magic marker? Because it really showed us where that bolt was going to be. And now it's through, and it's through on the other side too. We're almost there, folks. We're almost finished with the job. Now, you may have noticed that the toilet may not be quite resting flat against the floor. That's because the wax ring now needs to be compressed. And there's only one way to do that, and that is you have to sit on the toilet, okay? So there's no glamorous way to do this, but you got to sit down and you got to put your weight on it, and that's going to compress that wax ring, give you a good seal. Okay, now it's time to bolt the toilet down to the floor. We're going to attach these to those flange bolts, and so I'm going to just start. This is just no tool necessary. That's the way this particular toilet was designed. Now listen, you don't want to over tighten here, okay? Because porcelain, it'll snap on you. So just real hand tight. That's all you need to worry about. Let's see what, oh, that's good. That's nice. And we take the finishing cap, stick it on there. What a nice finish. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, folks, so this is the bottom of the tank, and this is the tank that rests on the toilet bowl. So now it's time to install the tank to bowl gasket. So you just put it on, and that's it. Okay, now it's time to place the tank on top of the bowl. We're going to pilot these two bolts into the openings here, and that little gasket that you saw, the little green gasket, that rests right there. Okay, that's on there. Now, you know, I want to draw something to your attention, and that is one of the things that I really like about this particular toilet is its easy installation. If you look inside, everything is already attached. And that's not the case with a lot of toilets that you purchase. So when you go to the store and you purchase a new toilet, make certain that you get a simple installation like this. It'll save you a whole lot of heartache. They give you these two tools to attach the tank to the bowl, and again, this is a simple installation. The toilet that you purchase may be different, okay? It may have different hardware. Now, where I have to install the nut to the bolt is out of the view of the camera. I can't get a good shot, folks, and I'm so sorry. I will try to position the camera there so you can see it, but it's very possible that it's going to be too dark to record. I'm underneath the commode, and I'm afraid that at this point this is all you're going to be able to see. The tank is attached to the bowl. Now we're going to attach the seat, and then we'll attach the water supply line, and we'll be finished. I've already attached one toilet seat bolt and nut. Now I'm going to attach the other, but I want to show you how it's done. These toilet seats come with like little caps. So you open it up, and it reveals the hole that you insert the bolt and the nut. So let me show you what these look like. It's just a plastic bolt, and this is the plastic nut. And the bolt we insert from a top, you got it like so, okay? And now the plastic nut we attach at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the bolt tight with my, with my finger as I attach the nut from the bottom. Now, the nut is on the bottom, it's attached to the bolt, but now it comes time to tighten. Okay, so I'm going to use that multi-tool that I like so much with the flathead screwdriver, and I'm going to hold the nut on the bottom while I tighten from the top. Okay, that's it. And now all we have to do is close that flap. There we go. Folks, I had to purchase a new supply line, and now that's what I'm going to attach. Now with this particular model, you don't have to use Teflon tape, you don't have to use pipe dope, otherwise it voids the warranty. So we're just going to attach it like so. Come on in, take a look. That's it, that's good. I'm going to have to put a tool on this. This is not a finger tight connection. And now I'm just going to put an adjustable wrench on there and tighten it up further. It's almost there. Now I'm going to turn on the water at the shutoff valve, and I'm going to check for leaks. It should be fine, but you know, you never know. There we go, the water's running. Let's take a look in the bowl. It's filling up. All my connections are dry. This is what you want to check for. Okay, so now this is what we're going to do. We're going to flush it once and just see. Make certain that we know that our connections are tight. Now it's just time to see if the toilet is delivering. Perfect. Now it's time to put on the lid. Okay, so this is a straightforward, simple installation. Toilet's installed. It's ready for use. But you want to make certain that when you're doing this task, that you allot enough time to do it. Don't rush yourself. At least allot 3 hours to complete this task. So we saved a few $100s today doing it ourselves. And you know what? You can do the same at home. This is Leah saying you can do this. See you next time.